It's some 51 minutes after 7. You are still here on the AM show, and time now for my banner. We've been talking, Roland and myself, we've been talking about this particular subject. Indeed, not too long ago, we shared with you the story of Amina, who went to Saudi Arabia, was going to do a supervisory work in a supermarket. Turned out, that the job that was really waiting for her was a house help job. In the end, she came back raped by 3 men, now with a son who doesn't look anything like Ghanaian, and she's having to deal with her situation. We've got stories that we're going to share with you, but just so you know, 3% of the world's population are living abroad worldwide. This makes international migration a key feature of globalization and the central issue on the international agenda. However, Ghana does not have a migrant policy. That's what we're going to be on today. So if you travel abroad legally or illegally, what happens to you whilst you work is not the business of the government back home here in Ghana. We'll hear a lot more stories. Let me just introduce to you, Naa Ocansey is with SOS Labor. She's actually the CEO. Patience Edu, or let me just say Comfort Kwe, is program member, and Patience Edu is also a program member, all with SOS. So let me just say good morning. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Perhaps now you can just tell us what SOS Labor stands for.
All right. SOS Labor is the first legal migration recruitment agency in the country. And I do want to correct one thing. Ghana does have a migration policy, actually. It's just the implementation of it that we're looking at right now. So in our parliament, there's an LI, a legislative instrument called 1833 that has been passed that allows people to go and work overseas legally, but through licensed legal migration companies.
Okay, so that would be, such as yours.
Such as SOS Labor, which is the first licensed agency. There are other agencies, but they're not licensed. Okay. And there are agencies, there are 14 agencies in this country that fall under that legislative instrument and are licensed to allow people to go and work overseas as well as here locally.
Okay, so usually, you are supposed to go and get a better job and make more money and come back home and help, or you can even live there and still support family. Absolutely. With what you earn. But the stories that we hear, I think what makes headlines, it's always the very negative ones. Have you had any success stories?
Oh, we've had both, actually. One thing I do want to say is legal migration is what we are asking for the nation. Even with legal migration, you can have a few issues. For instance, with domestic workers. In domestic workers right here in Ghana, there are many stories of domestic workers and the hardships and the difficulties that they have. The ILO Director General is in the country, so I wish to make this appeal to him. There's a legislative instrument, there's a called ILO C-189, which is to be ratified by even our own country. We have not ratified it yet. Many countries in the Gulf countries have also not ratified it yet. This will give protection to domestic workers everywhere, not just in the Gulf, but also in our home. So I'd like to see us first do that here in Ghana before we start to ask the other countries to also do it.
Okay, that would be fair.
Yes. So there are right here in Ghana rape issues. There are right here in Ghana problems in homes. And
but the fact that we haven't done our homework would also not mean that if our citizens go to other countries and they need some sort of intervention, they would not get it.
I agree with you 100%. In fact, what we are advocating for is legal migration and a framework that adds to it security protection, as well as what is called decent jobs. This week, as you know, yesterday and today, the nation just opened up its first National Job Summit, which is being headed by, was hosted by the Minister for Employment and Labor Relations. The President was there yesterday to open it. I really commend them for this wonderful initiative, as well as the Director General for the ILO was there. So there's a commitment for decent work. We think that work must be decent. And I think that the Ministry for Foreign Affairs, the Ministry for Labor, and a multi-sectorial committee must be set up. It is there it is there in terms of our policy, but it's not. It needs to be activated.
Okay.
We should have immigration as part of it. It should have the training institutions, even because one of the problems that causes many of the issues is that the people who go overseas, not through the licensed agencies, don't have the skill. And we have a process by which they go through. Everyone in our program must sign a job offer letter before they leave here.
Okay. So let me just engage Comfort and Patience. I'll come back to you.
Okay.
Comfort, where did you go to? How did you get there? What were you promised?
Thank you so much. I went to Kuwait as a domestic helper, and I got my involved into this program through a pastor called Reverend Patrick Atta. Mommy went to the radio station, one of the radio stations, Sunny FM. So pastor called me and told me, "Oh, Comfort, this is what is going on. This program about domestic helper. Do you want to join?" Before I was thinking, I said, "No, I don't want to go to. I want to go like the Europe, but not Arab country." But as soon as I was not believing, because this was a free program. So I asked myself, in Ghana, who is going to do such a thing like
there's no free lunch.
Free program like this? So I don't believe in this. But we went to a meeting, a conference at Sunny FM. Then we met Mama Princess Ocansey himself. Then the way the program was going on and how they started to talk, we asked questions and we saw that the thing was true. It's not something that was fake. So then I got...
So you knew what you were going to Kuwait to do?
Yes, I knew what I'm going to do.
You knew how much they would pay you?
I know everything.
Okay.
Because I have to bring the pastor to sign. Even my father, I sent my father to Tema to sign the guarantor. So I knew they are going to pay me 60 dinar. 60 dinar is 6 million in Ghana. When
a week, a month, a year?
A month.
Okay.
So I knew that this is what I'm going to do. Even they will call you. I was talking to my boss, the one I'm going to work with. You ask the person, how many children do you have? And I know they have about 4. Everything too was true. So I got there, and the houses, the store building, the land, everything.
Okay. Let's hear Patience's story. Patience, where did you go?
I went to Bahrain.
Bahrain.
Yes.
Okay. How were you recruited?
It wasn't easy, but it was a powerful experience. We went through a lot.
So somebody told you there was a job opening in Bahrain, so you can apply and go to Bahrain.
Yeah, my sister called me and told me there's a program going on at Channel of Blessing. So I should go there because most of the time I wanted to travel overseas. So when she heard it, she just told me and said there's a traveling agency at Channel of Blessing, so I should go there and then do inquiries. When I went there, it is not all about traveling. In fact, they really taught us so many things. They told us what we are going to do there, how much they are going to pay us.
Okay. So what were you going to do there?
We were going to do.
Is it domestic
household?
chores?
Yeah,
okay,
that's domestic
so similar to.
Yeah, the same thing.
Okay, sure. So indeed, when you went there, what happened?
Okay, when I went there, I would say we had so many challenges. There were so many challenges we had.
Like what? What would be?
Okay. They took me to an old woman. I was living with an old woman who had problem, who had been sick, had problem with her mind, and I was just.
So this is a mentally ill person.
Yeah, ill.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was taking care of him. I had really a challenge there because whenever he tells you to do this, the next minute he comes and tell you he didn't tell you. So I called Mrs. That's my madam. I called my madam.
So hang on. The two of you went to these countries with the same organization.
Yeah.
Okay. Except that your experiences were different. Okay. So what you were told you go and do, that is what you went to do, except that the conditions were different.
Exactly what I went to do.
Okay, but did they pay you what they said they would pay you?
Yes, they said they are going to pay me $200. Exactly what they paid me.
A month, a week?
A month.
Okay. So how long did you, maybe Comfort, you can answer this. How long did you stay there for?
For 2 years.
For 2 years. Okay. And throughout your 2 year stay, what were some of the challenges? Because, you know, now we're talking about, yes, you're in a country legally to work, but when you have challenges, who can you fall on? So let's talk about some of the difficulties that you went through.
Well, I would say that the difficult was my madam I was working with. It seems like when you ask something, it doesn't want to provide the thing you are asking for.
Something
such
like,
as, Mommy, maybe I'll tell madam I want maybe soap, Pepsodent, because when you go for domestic work, the madam have to take all these things. She have to provide you all this. But it seems like you will say that the woman will just like ignore you.
Okay.
But I keep asking, and we go to a market. I go to market with my madam. Then I'll tell Mommy, please, I want this.
But you were being paid. You could use your money to buy.
No, because they told her they are going to give us everything. So it's...
Was that contained in the contracts?
Yes.
Okay.
So, but I look at all this and I say, I'm working with you. When I ask you something, even a uniform is very difficult. So one day I decided to leave the house.
Okay.
I said I'm no more going to work because I do everything. They like my work. They like our... So when I said, I went there with my daughter. We are all in the same house.
Oh, you went there with your... How old was your daughter then?
My daughter was 26.
Oh, okay.
So I asked them, and so I told my daughter, please, I wanted to go to a different... And we have an agent there. So I wanted to go. Then my daughter ran down and told the mother-in-law that this is going on upstairs. Then they called a meeting. Then they organized everything. They said no. Then they said no. Comfort, from now on, don't ask anything. We want you in this house. We like you people. We want to work with you. So we want you to be the part of this family. Then they started. They said, oh, I'll provide this. I'll provide this. So what I
So
did,
then the conditions changed?
it's changed.
And you were comfortable?
I was comfortable.
Did they take your passport, you know, the
No.
moment you
My daughter
entered?
is the one who is keeping the passport because we have workers there, about 40 workers. And my daughter is the one who takes
So was this a home? Somebody's private home?
It's a home, but there is a company too in their home.
Okay. All right, Patience, what was your, you know, the challenges, the things that you went through?
Okay, my first home, I had really a challenge, and then I called Mrs. Ocansey, that's my madam, that's Princess, and then they were able to change my home and give me another home.
Okay.
When I went there, the home is very big. I had to take care of 6 kids, and then their husband was sick, ill. It wasn't part of my job, but because of the experience I had in Ghana, I took it upon myself and told the madam I can take care of the man. So he added to my job. I was cleaning, I was washing. It was a very big house. We had 6 bedrooms, 3 sitting rooms, 2 kitchen. I was the one taking care of all that, cooking, and at the same time taking care of 6 kids.
And you were comfortable with it?
It wasn't easy for me.
So why did you continue to do it? Was it because of the money?
I continued to do it because we were trained. When you come to Channel of Blessing, they don't just talk about traveling, but they train you.
So you were trained to go and work?
To go and work.
Okay, but was there a point where you would have loved for maybe the Ghana embassy in the country to come and help you or anything of a sort?
Yes, please. Because our Mama Princess was our embassy. Because whenever we had a problem, she's the one we call. And then she makes sure that we are really comfortable and she solves the problems for us. So I will plead the government of the nation to please go to, all the Arabic countries. We need an embassy so that whenever we need help, we can run to them.
But you saw others. You saw other people who had also arrived in the countries that you went to work, who probably didn't come from the same agency that you went through. What were some of the challenges? Did you meet people like that?
It's very bad because for them, they don't tell them the truth. They'll tell them you are going to work in the hospital, in a supermarket, in a big hotel. Maybe they will pay you like $500 a month. And it's very bad. Sometimes I saw them, and because we have the colors. So anytime you saw somebody who is a Ghanaian,
You
I'll
would
just
know.
I'll know. So I just and I said, where are you from? From Ghana. Which company? Then he said, oh, maybe it's like somewhere like Nima. Somebody who makes like a container. He said, oh, my boss was. I said, oh, wow. Then you can see a difference from mine.
Okay. So the two of you did your 2 years, and then
Yes.
you came back.
Yes.
Okay. Did you go back again, or are you planning to go back again?
We are planning to
Really, to go and
yeah.
do the same job?
No. Now, mommy is no more going to. We are no more doing the domestic work.
Okay.
We are doing like
You're doing what?
sales girls and shop attendants and things.
So that's what you want to go and do the next time?
Yes.
Maybe I should come back to you now. Why do we, in the first place, want to go and do these things in other countries when there are opportunities like that here in the country? Because the challenges that they went through, I mean, the kind of work that they went to do, and the difficulties, it's the same thing that we have here in Ghana.
No, you're absolutely right. And actually, what inspired me to start this was those ladies, the kayaye on the street. The women who are chasing cars every day. Every time I see them, I get convicted. One day I went on the street, and I sent you the footage actually. I was selling Dettol on the street just to walk in their feet for a day. And many of these women, what we are passing by every day in this country is not decent work on our own streets. So I took those women from the streets, and that's why the program was free. And we started to train them because we have an NGO also called Channels of Blessings. It's a Christian-centered training organization. So we took them from the street, we started to minister to them, give them skills as domestic workers. The idea was never to send them, I never thought about, we've never had a domestic worker program actually. We've always had skilled worker programs. We send engineers, construction workers. We are in 9 countries.
So these are, more like professionals.
Yeah, we send, and mostly men. We've never even done women's program. Until we started a supermarket program in Kuwait. But the women's program, I've never liked domestic worker program because of all these kinds of issues. But we train these women and put them in Trasaco to work as domestic workers. And then during the Kuwaiti program, we heard that Kuwait was offering more money because they're making 100 Ghana cedis here. They could make 400, 600 Ghana cedis there. I was like, wow, if you could train some of these women and give them these jobs there, that would be great. They go from earning 100 Ghana cedis in Ghana and they can make more money. Some of them have done very well. For instance, some of them have bought land in Dodowa and so on. They've done extremely well for many of them. The challenges are there. And so after 4 months of all, we don't get that many complaints from any of our programs. We sent 88 women, to be precise, of which 20 were saying that
to Arab countries,
to Bahrain, to Kuwait, to where else? Qatar, yeah. And these women, and 3 women to Saudi Arabia. These 88 women, about 20 of them had complaints, oh, the work was so difficult, so I said, we will shut the program down. So in 2012, we shut the program down altogether. I said, no. We want decent work for these women. And if this work is not decent, we will not be involved in it. So we stopped the program. Before even we had some media things, the following year when the program was even shut down. We believe in legal migration and we believe in decent work, but we didn't know about these challenges until they had gone through it, and then we cut the program altogether.
So as it is now, because and I'll bring Amina's story because that was real.
That's my
for
outcry
me.
actually.
That was real for me.
Yeah.
Where you have your passport taken.
Yes.
And the job that, because she was promised she was going to do, like be a supervisor in the supermarkets. Even though if you told me that, I would not believe you. But some people unfortunately believe it and then they go. And that didn't happen. If we had a responsive embassy, what would that do in that situation?
Let's even start back here in Ghana. The framework that we have now, that this nation has, the Ministry for Labor and for Employment and Labor Relations, they're doing a very good job. For instance, when people are going to go and work overseas, we're supposed to take them to the ministry. Then they have something called an exit permit, which was something that I learned in the Philippines. I went to the Philippines to study their migration program. I also went to England to study migration from Manpower UK. And out of that, I went to Canada to study migration. Then we put a framework together. We brought the British here to Ghana to set up all of our systems, which includes a very big part for government. a labor attaché, the embassy as you're talking about. We start here. The ministry must check the contracts of these workers before they go anywhere. They have to make sure they have offer letters, which spells out in cedis and their currency over there as to exactly what they're going to go and make. They must check those companies to make sure that they are real. That's what happens with all of us, the licensed agencies, so that before we send people there, they know what they are going to do, what it is they're going to do. And so there's no room for us to send somebody to go and to tell the person you're going to work in this place as a supervisor and then they end up anywhere else. It just doesn't happen in a legal migration framework. Where it does happen is in the illegal migration framework, where there are no controls on these people at all. I had a lady call me from Bahrain after he met one of my ladies. And I said, what are you doing there? He said, they told me they were bringing me to Germany. And so you are in Bahrain. They told me that this is the Arab 4-1 Germany. So she's in Bahrain thinking she's in Germany. So she's trying to find her cousin who is also in Germany. Call the cousin in Germany. Now, if you were here, oh, maybe Drew. Oh, maybe Drew German for one Arab 4-1 German. No. Then they realized that they told her they were taking her to Germany. Most of these young ladies are illiterate. We require basic GSS. If you don't have GS, we can't send you overseas because it's actually wrong, because they have to fill forms. There's so many things that they must have, skills that they must have before they go overseas to go and work. We stopped the domestic worker program because of the cultural issues that they have in that. For instance, what she's talking about, during the Ramadan, 9 family members could move in. This young lady will be working for 8 people instead of 2 people. That's not fair. That's not decent work. So we've been there, we've done that. We saw that it's not right for what we stand for, legal migration and decent work. It didn't fit into our framework, and so we stopped the program.
So in that instance, you know, it's just entirely up to the agency to help you out. But if they're not physically present in that country, then what happens?
No, they are not. I'm saying that the illegal migration, when you are sent there, you don't hear from them even again. We have a pastor who lives in Kuwait to take care of our people because there's no embassy. Now, if there was an embassy, there will be a labor attaché if there's an issue, because even in legal migration, you could have problems. And so it will be good for the ministry to have somebody dedicated to labor relations and welfare. The Philippines has 32. The Filipinos bring over 20 billion to their country from remittances from people who are working overseas. In Ghana, we have Ghanaians bring 3 billion from overseas to our country. How much are we asking the IMF for? This is a very serious issue. If we will play all the roles we need to play, and we have started, because the migration policy is there, it just needs to be implemented. Once it's implemented, this nation stands to gain a lot for a nice framework of legal migration.
Okay. All right, I would have loved to continue this conversation. Indeed, what we asked people to do was to share their own traveling experiences with us, and I'm sure that we're going to, you know, do a follow-up, particularly with the ministry, and then we'll have this conversation in another direction another day. But for today, really, I want to say thank you for your time.
I thank you so much.
And patience and comfort, thank you for sharing your stories with us. I wish you the very best. I would love for you to continue to stay in Ghana, but, you know,
the program they have is a circular migration. They don't go forever. They go for 2 years. For instance, they want to go to Canada, right, to work in retail. So they go and work for 2 years, come back. They buy a home. We have a home program for them. They buy land. They do, yes. So they are.
So I tell you what, my colleague Roland wants to go to America really bad. He's a journalist, so please look for a job like that for
Roland, can you see us after? We'll see what we can do for you. But thank you, and I really appreciate you taking the time to do this story. There are many young people. I wrote to Joy as an outcry because it hurts my heart to see what is happening with the young people going through illegal migration. They need to be aware that there's a legal way of doing this, and if they pass with a legal way, even when they have challenges, it can be solved for them.
Definitely.
So thank you so much, Joy.
Thank you too.
God
Naa
bless you.
Ocansey, and we're Joy News.
Joy
FM is across.
Joy.
It's the best. Joy News is the best. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
All right,
God
stay with
bless
us.
you.
We've got
Thank
Talk
you.
up next with Roland Walker.